all about getting out and learning what the outdoors is.
Good evening everyone and welcome back to the shooting channel with me, Alex Sayer. Well, things have certainly been busy behind the scenes. Look at this, good old Basque. They've got confirmation from the government that game shooting can recommence on the 3rd of December. Thanks for that. Moving on, both London and Birmingham proof houses are staying open this time during lockdown. And here's the results of the CPSA director elections. Congratulations to all of you. And before we move on to our guest today, I just want to give you a quick run through of the new general licences which will come into effect January the 1st next year. 3 of them look. General Licence 40 is conservation, to kill or take certain species of wild birds to conserve endangered wild birds and flora or fauna. There's a species covered. You need to be aware that jackdaws and rooks will no longer be able to be controlled for conservation purposes. Next, you've got Public Health and Safety, General Licence 41, which is licence to kill or take certain species of wild birds to preserve public health or public safety, covering jackdaw, feral pigeon, Canada goose, monk parakeet. And finally, the serious damage, in at 42. General licence to kill or take certain species of wild birds to prevent serious damage and prevent the spread of disease. Species covered include carrion crow, jackdaw, magpie, feral pigeon, rook, wood pigeon, Canada goose, monk parakeet, ring-necked parakeet, Egyptian goose, Indian house crow. I will be doing more on that in the coming weeks, but for now, let's go over to David in conversation with Jonny from TGS.
Hello, David.
Hello. So, 2020, start of this year or at Christmas, we all thought was going to be a cracking year.
Ooh, gearing up that way.
What's 2020 been like for you? What's 2020 been like for the shooting industry?
Well, for me in the shooting industry, it's probably 2 different things. I've had a cracker of a year, mate, between one thing and another. I am a die-hard optimist, though. I enjoy spending time with the family and sorting the garden out, and I don't spend that much time, like, just at home. It was very interesting. However, business-wise, it was a little bit more of a headache, wasn't it? The shop was tough, having to close, and luckily this forthcoming lockdown will be better, because we can at least do click and collect. Thank you, GTA. However, it was pretty tough. Then we reopened, probably the same as you, we had a big boost. That was good. To be honest, mate, I feel blessed in all departments because I don't own a game shoot right now. So I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm even optimistic now. Like, in hindsight, lockdown taught us a lot. So personally, it was worthwhile, and personal is always trumping business in all walks of life. I'm not really making a lot of sense. I am extremely tired, though. I do apologise.
Do you think the shooting industry or the organisations have done a good enough job to try and fight for our sport? So you've got golf, you've got all sorts of other industries that have been kind of fighting to stay open, fighting for sort of furlough money, fighting for money. Everyone's fighting against government because obviously everyone's in it. I think the government have done actually a good job because could you have done a better job of trying to keep... Well, we could have done, both of us, because that's what we are.
Magic, mate, yeah.
But with coronavirus, you either kill lives, you kill the economy. But do you think our industry has worked together? I think the CPSA have done a very, very good job to try and sort of keep everything together.
I'm not sure they could have done a better job. I mean, what would you have preferred? Them to say, no, we can shoot and everyone else can do nothing? I think we struggle PR-wise anyway. Clay shooting is obviously separate to game shooting, and game shooting is where my heart is. Clay shooting, I think, had a pretty good time of it. In the end, we got to open a little bit earlier than other businesses did, which was good. Game shooting, there's no choices there. Like, what are you gonna do? We suffer from PR anyway. We've got to be seen to be squeaky clean. And if it is the right thing to do for COVID, then great. And there's wiser men than me thinking about that. So.
And what do you? I mean, over the last sort of 3 or 4 months, I mean, we've had a cracking 3 or 4 months here, but we've also had a really good interest in new people taking up the sport. Not just for game shooting, for clay shooting, just to enjoy it, just to get out there.
Yeah, I think this whole COVID situation has taught people to embrace and enjoy life a little bit more. Plus, we all caught up with Netflix, so actually getting outside suddenly became a priority for a lot of people, didn't it? It was a lot of people's only access to the world was their hour of exercise a day. So I think people are re-engaging with outdoors a little bit more, certainly, and people are looking for things to do at home, as opposed to saying, well, I'll spend my money on a holiday. They might be looking at taking up hobbies and that kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like it has been good, and I feel like there's a lot. We were moving in a good direction up until about a day ago. So, I don't know.
And how do you feel the sport? So, we have a lot of people come in here, talk about what you and I are doing, what Mum and Dad have done for the last 40 years, bringing new people in. There's so many people coming here saying they love you, they love me, they love what we do. How do you think, and during lockdown, we've seen an increase on the shooting channel. How do you think shooting can move forward? Because everyone's moving forward with our YouTube channels are moving forward. How do you think the sport can move forward?
That is a very good question. The answer is to be inherently less boring and old-fashioned. That's the bottom line. Like, nobody wants to go and do a sport that's boring. Like,
to make it fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, with the exception of like maybe darts and snooker, and even that, it's people watching it because it's technically brilliant. But you don't do boring things for fun. And I think we have struggled for a long time as a sport for looking boring and stuffy, and that'd be clay shooting or game shooting. So to make it exciting and fun and silly, and so the sort of thing that someone watches and goes, yeah, I want to be part of that, not, wow, that looks like darts.
So for somebody watching this that
Yeah.
potentially could be anti-guns, anti-killing, anti-shooting, how do you encourage them to have a go and give it a go and pick up a gun for the first time?
I think the separation needs to start at the beginning of, and this is the difficult part, because many of us who like clay shooting also enjoy game shooting and pest control, to separate, as you have said in previous times, the clay shooting sport and discipline with the game shooting recreation and enjoyment. And that in itself, there's a squirrel behind you that's utterly distracting. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you do need to separate the two, because someone who's not interested in killing will not be interested in killing. It's not something you're going to change their mind out on overnight. Hunting to get your own food does appeal to a large bracket of people, but some people just aren't born that way. So separating out the sport side is important, and making it a very accessible sport for people is important, to show that it's just a fun thing to go and do. But I don't know how to separate those two things, because it's not going to happen on my channel, because we like hunting.
But so in a way, the killing is a very small part of it. If you look at the comments that we got on our channel and we try and separate it, it's actually getting people to convinced that that gun over there isn't dangerous. So that gun letting up against that building isn't dangerous. How do you encourage people?
I think the real fight is, how do we get people who are completely ambiguous to come and have a go with it? That's surely the thing. Like, trying to get someone who's anti-shooting to come and play with guns is like getting someone who's a hardcore atheist to go to church. It's not going to happen. However, getting someone who's completely ambiguous on the subject to shift a little bit, that's reasonable. And the answer is to not care about the anti-gunners, but to convert the 95% middle market. To say, hey, you like having fun? Come and have fun with me. We're going to go make some noise and blow up some clays with guns, which are a little bit scary and a little bit exciting. And that's kind of why we like them, as they are a really exciting thing, I think.
So, again, another question for the viewers. Anything out there for you viewers, what do you think we could do as a sport or as our YouTube channels? What do you think we can do to encourage people to give shooting a go that's never even thought about picking up a shotgun? So put a comment below on this channel, even go on Jonny's channel, put a comment below on his, to see what we can do as a sport to encourage them people into it.
Mate, thanks for today.
That was filmed after a great day of fun where those two had a shoot-off between different guns from different countries. Make sure you like and subscribe, because that video is coming on this channel very soon and you certainly don't want to be missing it. And I notice it's funny that Jonny mentioned about separating the game and clay side of things. I kind of tried to cover both, and I was looking at doing a bit more of a in the field feature on this channel, which would cover a bit more of game shooting and give people a feel of what it's like out and about. What do you think? Is that something you'd be interested in? I'd like to know. And I think that's about all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to reading some of your comments below. Thanks for the nice comments which you always leave me, and thank you for watching the shooting channel. I'll see you next news day.
Please share to your friends and have a look at what other films we've done. And it's all there to try and encourage you to get into shooting this great sport.